Welcome back, everybody. Pleased to be joined by Coach Mahoney today after Liam came on yesterday. So, Coach, welcome back. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, to recap last season, we really had a phenomenal year last year, all things considered. Made it all the way to the championship, came super close. What are your thoughts just on last year's team and your experience here as your first year and winning Coach of the Year also?
It couldn't have gone any better, other than getting, obviously the last game would have been nice, but I think the big thing going in was last year was so new for everybody. I was new. We had graduated 8 girls, obviously new coach. We took 9 new players onto the team, and I think even talking to the team last year, I don't think there was a lot of or a good idea of where we were going to end up. I think we knew we were going to be competitive. I always knew we had that. My goal originally, I probably said it when we talked last year, was originally like top 8 going in. Can we get a home game? And we just clicked right out of the gate, and it obviously was a lot of fun. It was a great success. Getting those playoff games and seeing the crowds and the energy, and you could just feel that excitement last year as we kept going. Obviously, we ran into some roadblocks throughout the season as far as some injuries that impacted us a little bit with our seniors, but I thought it gave that younger group that had to grow into that role last year. So I thought that was really good for us. They did a great job. We had a lot of freshmen and sophomores step up and really helped get us, to where we got to. The title game, I'm sure we'll talk about that. But it was, it was kind of a couple quarters where I feel like we did really well, and a couple of quarters in the middle where, it just unfortunately things just weren't going in for us. Credit to Kearsarge, they played a great game, but I think that motivated us coming into the summer and getting ready for this season. So we're all excited. As far as like my first year, like I said, couldn't have asked for anything better. The group was great. It was a great group. People want to listen to us, I think. And they work hard, and they, I think, saw how good they could be as we kept playing. I felt like early in the year it was a lot of us as coaches saying, hey, you're here for a reason. You're undefeated for a reason. You're at the top for a reason. And the girls, they realized it. As we kept winning, they realized we do have talent. We do have this, even with injuries, even overcoming some of these obstacles. So it was just it was a lot of fun. Couldn't have asked for a better year as far as the winning the Coach of the Year. I would trade that for the state championship any day, but it was an honor. It is an honor because it's voted on by the coaches, and it's voted on by the coaches in the league. So to be recognized by the people you work with is it's a pretty nice feeling. But we had a lot of talent. As we had Liz and Sid both earning all-state honorable mention, and of course Shay, Player of the Year, first team. So they made me look pretty good too. So that was nice. But it was great.
One of your greatest strengths, and the reason I think you won that award, was just your ability to adapt. You come in here, you have something that's brand new, and you were able to put your print on it right away, starting off 8-0 super early on, and then, not having the first loss of the year till at Guilford. Tough game, tough school to play at. Doing super well down the stretch all year. And then, last week was challenging with all the sickness and everything, but you adapted well because Keegan got hurt. We adapted to that. We figured out how to win. Katie got hurt, adapted to it, figured out how to win. Liz got hurt in that game against Winnisquam in the semifinal, still won by like 20 points in what most people thought was going to be a close game, and gave Kearsarge a run for their money. And we just had a tough situation where buckets just weren't falling in the middle of that game, but we were in it till the very end.
Yep.
So I think those are some of your key strengths. I think one of the biggest challenges for this program, in my opinion, entering this year has to do with last year. It was a sneak attack. Nobody expected this team to be as good as they were. Now people are expecting everybody, to be really good on this team, and they saw the potential of this group last year, and they got you circled on the schedule, and they're going to have a game plan for you specifically. How are you going to counter that?
Well, we've talked about that. We've said obviously last year was a great year, and we want to celebrate it, but it's a new season, and we've already said the same thing. Teams know who you are, right? They know who you are, and we expect we're going to see everyone's best every game. But I think we'll be ready. A lot of what I think led to our success last year was just the work we put in, and then the preparation. So I know with Coach Skate and myself, we both like to watch film where we can. We like to just study what we can and kind of see what other teams have, and if you can game plan for them and just work on your stuff. We're putting in. The nice thing this year is, last year one of the things I thought was we ran stuff very well, but there we were an up and down, and that's how we want to play. And I thought, in the championship, like you said, Kearsarge did a good job of slowing us down. I can tell you the shooting was definitely a part of that. We shot, I think, 19% that game, which I hate to say that, but it just was the way it was. Those nights happen. But we just keep coming in and working and trying to build off that. Like you said, teams are going to be ready for us, but we have an idea of, who we expect to see and where teams are at too on their end. So, as long as we can go in with a game plan and execute it, I think we have the talent coming back to be able to play with most teams. Yeah.
3 key losses from last season. Like Liam and I discussed last night, we talked about replacing seniors. And I think one of the big advantages you have is you already showed how you can do that last year. Because Keegan goes down. She was the leading scorer at the time and figured out how to win. Katie got hurt in that game in January, and that was a tough one, and immediately figured out how to win. And then Liz, obviously, in the Winnisquam game, that's probably I don't want to say like the biggest loss, but she was also a huge leader, and the team has the least experience playing without her in comparison to without the other two. Talk about, maybe those seniors for a minute and just kind of your strategy to do it without them this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were great. They were great. I could go on this whole time about the 3 of them. And Viola, who was here with us from Italy. I know she played with JV most of the time, but the 4 of them did a great job. Keegan was at the time, like you said, Keegan and Katie were early enough into the season. I mean, you never wanted to see anyone injured, and I'd be lying if I didn't say, you spent time saying, what if we had those players healthy, but a lot of teams were dealing with injuries too, so. But it was the timing, and it sounds weird to say, but the way it was spaced out, I do think helped us because it allowed us to kind of integrate those younger girls in. Keegan was I think 5th in the division when she got hurt, but and then Katie, I think it was 8 games in. To me, was a defensive player of the year type of player. So it was always tough to replace them, but we had Helen Yatton and Paige Bodette jumped in and did a great job there. It's tough to replace what they had. They were very good at the top of our press. They were very good in playing the way we wanted to play. I came in and didn't know much about Katie and Keegan. They hadn't played in a couple years. They came back their senior year. But they were phenomenal, and it was tough because I felt like they were both playing their best when they got hurt. Keegan just had a really good game. Kearsarge helped us win that one, and then got hurt, I think, the next day. Katie had her 2 best offensive games and then got hurt in the Monadnock game. So it was like, what's going on? Every time we're starting to go, and then same thing, like, in the semis, we were starting to play well, and then unfortunately, we lost Liz. Liz, she tried like heck to play through it in the championship game, and all, credit to her. But again, so we stepped in. I thought she had her best couple games there. So, that's one thing. The injuries hurt, but I think the depth we had last year and the depth we have this year, allowed us to kind of go in. And I don't want to say you don't miss a beat because it's tough to replace those 3, but we gelled really well. That it just kind of clicked, and people knew their roles and knew what they had to do. And I think that time and that experience is really going to help us this year, because now we have our whole starting 5 back.
What have you seen from summer league into tryouts through now at this point with your team, and how are you feeling about it?
I feel great. I think we got a great group this year. It's a good mix. So with that success, we saw a lot more interest come out this year. We had 19 in the program last year. We're up to 23 this year, so a few more kids. But we opened up the summer, being here now with a year, a little more comfortable, kind of running things and how we want to do things. And we really opened up the summer to everybody. And we said, we want the middle schoolers to come in. We want the younger, incoming high schoolers to come in. I think we probably had 35 to 40 kids throughout the summer at some point
That's
in
fantastic.
the gym. So it was great. We do a summer league in Manchester, which I love. It's a lot of Division I, Division II teams. We're the only D3 team in there. So, we won I think it was 4 games this year. We had 3 last year. So it's good for us. It challenges us every night. We're playing the Nashuas and the Merrimack Valleys and Bows and Concord and those schools. So Goffstown's in the league. I'm sure I'm forgetting. Souhegan was in it. Was it Souhegan? I think Souhegan was in it this year. So we're playing a lot of these strong D1 and D2 teams, and it just gets us ready. But the interest was there. That's been the biggest thing, is that buy-in and that interest I've seen of girls that just want to play. We actually had to come up with a kind of a staggered list for the summer because we had so much interest, and it's like, we can't bring 18 kids to a game. You're just not going to play. So we're in a position this year, and I think moving forward, looking at our numbers, where we have a good problem to have, where these girls have been successful, and it's building interest up in the school and in the community, and people want to play, and it's a good thing to have, I think. But seeing that buy-in in the summer from everybody, it continued into the fall. We opened up the gym for kids that weren't playing fall sports, and I'm coming in thinking we might have 3 or 4 kids one day. We'd end up with 10 or 12. So it's been, since this summer, just we have had great turnouts, and like I said, it's a problem you want.
Fantastic. I think last year was a great program building year for a program that was already strong in this division.
Yeah.
So looking around the division, I had my power rankings I released. I think St. Thomas.
We appreciate yours. We liked where we were.
Yeah,
we'll
I know.
take 2.
I know.
We still like the underdog status a little bit.
Liam's group wasn't as happy with me, but that's all right. Everybody's going to have a chance to prove.
Just motivate them.
Everybody's going to have a chance to prove themselves. So I had St. Thomas at 1. I think Von der Linden's back. They have a great group back. Last year we went there, lost a tough game on the road towards the end of the season, battling illness. So I think this year it's going to be a lot tighter, and anybody can win. Obviously up the road at Kearsarge, they still a good team. Just won the championship, obviously, but they lost Tessa, and Ed Tenney retired, so they have some changes there. A team that I'm looking at that I think is going to be super strong is Monadnock. They've been through a lot the past couple of years. Credit to them. They've also had challenging schedules, and they just battle. They're a really solid group that I think people should not be surprised if they're good again this year. Fall Mountain's good. Newport's returning 2 really good starters who weren't around last year. So there's some really good teams out there who are getting healthy now. What's your opinion on looking at the scope of the division?
I think we just did our interview with the sports page this week. I think they're doing their previews next week. I'm interested to see where they put us. But I said the same thing you're saying. I think this is the most competitive division in the state. I really do. I could see any what I expect to be those top 8 teams being anywhere in that range and making a run. I certainly think we'll hopefully we'll play to our potential and be up there towards the top as well. But you mentioned the injuries earlier, and a lot of those teams you mentioned, I think that's where they're going to be strong, is they're getting a lot of players back. Where our injuries were more seniors, where our kids were able to kind of bond together and grow together last year. They're going to be getting these all-state players back. Monadnock has the name slips my mind, but they have an injured player coming back who helped lead them to a state title, I think, a couple years ago. I know Newport's got a couple coming back. Kearsarge won last year with they were missing one of their returners in the state championship. Obviously, their point guard's coming back. We're getting interrupted, I think. Here. Fall Mountain had some injuries last year, so all those teams are going to be competitive. I saw your rankings in the top 10. I think we played, of the 9 teams that you had listed there, I think we played 8 of them. And the one that we didn't play was your number 10. So, one of the things I think that works for us really well throughout the season is we will be tested. We're going to have a tough schedule. We open with Somersworth in a week. They were a young team last year. I would suspect they're going to be better this year and give us, they're going to be competitive. And then we go to Monadnock on Monday, and I think that's going to be an really good early season test. I'm excited for that one because we're going on the road, as you said. We've had some really good games with them. We were fortunate enough to win the quarterfinal game last year, but they were certainly talented enough to win. And I got a lot of respect for them over there. They have a new coach as well who. I believe was a college player over there, so he's done a lot of AAU. I think from what I was reading. I'm from Keene, so I read the paper. They had it in the local papers over there. But they're gonna be well coached. They're gonna have a great team. I think like you said, Fall Mountain. The big one, obviously, St. Thomas. A lot of people seem to have us up there, and everyone seems to have them at number one. And it's tough. It's tough to argue that. I mean, they have 3 All-State players coming back. A lot of good size. The Von der Linden, can control the paint. She'll make you alter your offense just by her ability down there. She's a very good player. The Bulldog girl was first team All-State. She's she can shoot, she can slash. She can finish, and I think their point guard, sophomore last year, was she had a great year, the Toriello girl, and they had a good bench coming up. So, they're it's warranted to put them up there. I think it's warranted to put us up there, and all those teams you mentioned. I think Guilford too. I'd throw Guilford in there. I think it's going to be very competitive, and we're going to play them all. So we'll be battle tested, and that's what you want. I think that makes a difference when you're playing those games in the season. And you have that adversity, and you have those close ones to finish. Because in the tournament, majority of the time, it's going to come down to those few possessions. I like that we get tested during the season with that.
I agree, and Liam made kind of the same point last night where he said we play all the top teams except Belmont. And he wanted to play Belmont. He tried to scrimmage them because you want to kind of figure out what you're up against in case you wind up against one of them in the tournament.
Yeah. We're actually scrimmaging them next Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, they're coming in. We don't play them either, but so it'd be nice. That's a team I could see. We could see down the road. So, like you said, you want to know as much as you can.
Any additional thoughts in terms of just different things you're gonna try to play this year, and what you're gonna try and do to complete that final step and win the championship this year?
Yeah. The biggest thing this year that I've really been looking forward to, and I did listen to your interview with Liam, and I actually said to him today in between practices, dude, we got the same problem. We have the same problem. We're very deep. I mean, we kept 13 this year. We have a couple that are swinging up, but 3 freshmen coming up, 3 sophomores. It's very balanced. 3 juniors, 4 seniors this year, and I think they can all be out there, and that's going to be. I hate to say the same things he was saying, but that's going to be. I think my biggest challenge going in is we got to be able to manage and figure out rotations and those things. As far as anything different, we're going to put some new things in. I mean, we're going to. I like to play man to man. We want to get up and down the floor. That's just how I like to go. We'll keep those presses we did, but. One thing I told the girls going in, especially with Kearsarge, Kearsarge did a really good job taking away Shea and making us work in the championship. And I felt like, we relied a lot on our transition, and we relied a lot on kind of, what we call our quick hitters, where we're looking for specific options. So we've been starting to put in some more just continuity sets where, if we don't have something, we want to be, have something we can go to just settle us down and be able to execute in the half court. And I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure we have, when teams are taking things away, and I suspect between, you win player of the year, teams are going to focus on you. You're grabbing 19 rebounds a game like Sid is, teams are going to focus on you. So it's about, putting everyone else in a position to be successful and putting things out there where, we're going to be able to kind of counteract what teams might bring to us. So that's kind of been my focus going into the season. The girls have done a great job. executing what we're trying to do so far. We got a scrimmage tomorrow. We'll see how it looks initially, but I think it'll give us an added or an extra little twist to the season that we'll be able to use. So I'm excited.
Great, thanks, Coach. Good luck this year.
Thank you. Excited to have you.
All right.
And go Hawks.
Yep.